Kellogg here. I am back. I am back home and so thankful to be back in my house. I was evacuated for 11 days during the mosquito fire here in Placer County. It came very close to burning down the town of Forest Hill, or at least parts of Forest Hill, on 2 different occasions, and the firefighters stopped it. I don't know how they did it. If you've ever been up in this area, our forests are very, very thick. They were obviously very dry. When we evacuated, the day I had to evacuate, it was 110 degrees here in the Sierra foothills. The fire went from a very small event to a huge, out of control blaze. Ultimately, I think 11 people up here lost their homes, or 11 families lost their homes. But it could have been a huge tragedy if it wasn't for those firefighters, for the aircraft, for the bulldozers. At one point, we had upwards of, I think, 3,700 firefighters in and around the town of Forest Hill. The fire is still burning, but it's not advancing. We had 3 days of heavy rain up here. We've seen the temperature drop a whole bunch. I think today the high was probably 75, something like that, which is a massive step down from 110. So anyway, I am so glad to be back home. I am so glad to still have a home. We dodged the bullet here in Forest Hill. So hopefully we don't see another fire close to us again, and hopefully we have a wet winter this year and we have a little bit better fire conditions going forward. So anyway, I want to thank all you guys that reached out and asked how we were and how things were going and all that kind of stuff. I had a ton of emails I couldn't really respond to. I wanted to put up video, but I'd left some of my equipment here when we evacuated. I had my computer and my cameras and stuff, but I didn't have the components I needed to get the video from the camera to the computer, so all I could do was do some retread videos with some written messages in front of them, and I know a lot of you guys saw them. But anyway, thank you for all the well wishes. We are proceeding into the fall fishing season. I thought I'd kick things off now that I'm back here on YouTube with a fishing report. It's going to be kind of sketchy to start with. I'm still gathering information. I do have some announcements to make. So let's start off with the announcements. What's going on with Fish Hunt Shoot? I am kicking back into the kayak fishing lane right now. I'm getting ready to go up to Bucks Lake. We're starting to see those fall conditions in the Sierra. We had a long period of doldrums in the Sierra, due largely to low water levels at some lakes, but mostly due to that prolonged period of hot weather. Once the trout dial into, a depth range in the summertime, when you get that prolonged streak of hot weather at the end of summer, they have plenty of food to eat. They spend a lot of time just kind of being inactive and finicky, and that's what we'd been seeing. But that weather event we had this last week, that's kind of broken the spell. It's kind of gotten the fish out of the funk. We're starting to see fish moving around. We're starting to see fish get more active, and I think I'm going to do well up at Bucks Lake, although I have never trout fished there before. I was up there this summer with my wife. We did some kokanee fishing and did very well, but I'm very anxious to get up there. It's about 6,000 feet, so it's been very cool in the morning, cool overnight. The days are getting shorter, and we did have that rain, so I'm expecting great things. We'll see how it works out, but that's probably going to be at some point next week. It's going to be Lucy and I. We're going to run up there solo, see if we can get it done, see if we can get into some trout, and I think we can. We're starting to see some pretty good action popping off around the state in terms of trout fishing. Eagle Lake has been good. It's going to get a lot better. Elmanor was kind of hit and miss for a long time. We're starting to see some good fish at Elmanor. I haven't been able to get reports out of a lot of places. Davis, no report. Jackson Meadows, no report. But this is the time of the year when the fishing starts to kick into gear, and again, we had that very favorable change in the weather. I'm hoping it doesn't spike back up to 100 degrees, and I don't think it will. It looks like we've got a prolonged period of fair, kind of moderate temperature weather here in the Sierra foothills, so I got my fingers crossed for that. So that's kind of the trout fishing report. trout fishing guide trips. We are going to put the calendar up very soon. We are going to be running a full regiment of trips up at Collins Lake. We are super excited about it. We are going to start around Halloween, and we are going to go right on through the winter into the spring, just like we did last year. We're going to be offering trips on the FHS pontoon boat. We are going to be offering trips on our kayaks. We are going to emphasize fishing instruction this year. We are looking forward to getting you guys on a lot of fish and teaching you a lot of the finer points of trout fishing, you know, whether we're slow trolling, power trolling, whatever the conditions call for. We are looking to teach you guys to take your trout fishing to a whole different level. And as you know, Collins Lake, it is a trout factory. It is chock full of rainbow trout. There is going to be some aggressive planting going on this fall and next spring. And I've got a really exciting announcement to make. They are going to be planting lightning trout for the first time ever at Collins Lake, and they are going to be trophy-sized fish. Wes and I, neither one of us have caught a lightning trout. We've tried for them a couple times over at Lake Amador. We have been boning up on how to catch these fish. We've been doing some research. We've been talking to some folks back east. There's a lot of lightning trout back east, and we have got some very good pointers on how to consistently catch larger than average lightning trout, and we are looking forward to seeing some of those big, beautiful trout in the net. Sunday's video, I am going to devote it completely to lightning trout techniques. We are going to be talking lightning trout because that's going to be a big part of our season this fall, chasing lightning trout around Collins Lake in addition to the big trophy rainbows we ordinarily target out there. So that's it for the guide service. If you're interested in getting out with us this fall, get on up there, check our guiding calendar. If it's not live yet, it will be live in the next couple days. Book your trip early. We tend to fill up. We're going to be running 6 days a week this fall, as far as I know, and weather is always kind of a factor. You don't know. Maybe we'll get a lot of rain. Maybe we won't get much rain. You just don't know. Rain kind of dictates the technique and what kind of approach we're going to take out on the water. Enough said about that. If you want to get out on the water with me, if you want to get out on the FHS pontoon boat or on one of our Hobie kayaks, get on over to fishhuntshoot.com and check out our guiding calendar. Also, we are having a fly sale, 20% off on flies. We just stocked up on pre-spooled Abu Garcia reels and Okuma cold waters. We've got those set up with lead core. We're selling rod and reel combos ready to go out of the box anyway. Fishhuntshoot.com. If you're looking for gear, rods, reels, or a guide trip, that's where you want to go. Check us out online over there. We talked about trout fishing. Let's talk about river salmon fishing. We'll kind of actually salmon fishing kind of big picture. We'll wrap this up with the river salmon report, and I'll be back at you on Sunday talking about those lightning trout. Ocean salmon fishing. Trophy salmon are still being caught in the ocean, and that bite should hold up into, you know, the first week or two of October. I've had very good trophy fishing outside the Golden Gate during the month of October. We are still seeing those big 20, 30, 40-pound salmon caught by trollers out there. Fishing pressure's been light. If you want to get a trophy ocean salmon, this is the time to do it. Jump on a charter boat, do what the deckhand tells you, keep your tip up and reel, and you might be a guy, you know, posing for a picture with a big old 37-pound king salmon. They're mostly trolling rigged bait out there. Pretty standard approach. Put in your time, attention to detail, and you'll get after those fish. Now, coming into the system, we are seeing some action out in the Benicia area. First time this fall, or this year really, end of summer, fall, we're kind of right in that transition, that we've seen some consistency out there. We've actually seen some limits caught since we had that rain move through. The water temperatures dropped a little bit. Hopefully that's going to continue to improve. You know, it's still hit and miss. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but the camaraderie out there is good. It's a fun day. You know, go out there, incoming tide, toss those spinners, and you might get lucky. You know, those fish are pushing through in pods, and if you're there when they're pushing around the corner, you got a very good shot at getting a quality king. Those fish just came out of the ocean. So top-notch table fare, and hey, you're fishing off the bank. If you live in the area, the investment is pretty small and the payoff is pretty big if you hook up on one of those fish. Remember to take that big net, because, you know, they're bigger than you think they are. And just the time you start thinking, well, I'm not going to catch one, that's when one is going to bite. So make sure you got your gear dialed in, the knots are tied properly, the hooks are sharp, and you got a big old net and a plan to land that fish. Delta fishing continues to be slow for salmon. They're pushing through at night because they're getting fish upriver. They're just not getting many in the delta, and that always is an indication that they are pushing up the system at night. Striper fishermen are doing very good out there. I got a name for you. Where is it here? I have notes, of course. Blah, blah, blah. What is this guy's name? Ed Chase and his partner, Drew. They ended up getting limits of stripers to 11 pounds. They were trolling rattle traps on my striper halibut salmon rods out off the West Bank. They put in their time. They got some very nice fish, and I'm sure they are enjoying or have enjoyed some fish tacos at this point, because that was about 5 days ago they got those fish. So the stripers are out there. The trollers are getting them. Rattle traps, yozuris, both deep and shallow runners, and the guys drifting with live bait, primarily mudsuckers, they're getting fish too. The action's been good on the stripers. It's been pretty dismal on the salmon in the delta so far. We need cooler water in the delta to get that daytime action going. That's the bottom line. Upriver, up Red Bluff, Redding area, salmon fishing's been good. Seeing a lot of limits, seeing a lot of big fish, seeing some dark fish, also seeing quite a few chromers that, again, have pushed up there during the nighttime hours. The guys that really know what they're doing, they're starting out the day with the big flat fish. They're back trolling. Some guys stick with the big plugs all day long, but the other guys, they transition over to the row. They're either back bouncing row or they're boondoggling row, which is basically drifting row, smaller pieces of row on a spinning rod. That is a fun day. I suggest if you don't have a lot of knowledge and the boat to navigate the river up there, I would jump on board with one of the guides. There's a lot of good guys up there. There's Mike Bogue, there's Jason Thatcher, Kevin Brock, Jeff Goodwin works with some great folks up there. They're all very good. They're gonna fish hard. They're gonna do their absolute best to put you on the fish, and the fishing's been pretty good. Get up there, ask a lot of questions if you haven't done it before, because you know you want to be using the right technique. There's no bad question, and those guys, they're pros. They're there to help you, and they want you to land the, you know, the salmon of your dreams. So that's kind of the report for now. I am thankful to be home, guys. I can't wait to get out on the water. Me, the dog, 3 cats, and my wife, we spent 11 days living at my wife's beauty salon in Auburn, California. All of us were in a 400 square foot area, and my wife was still running her business. So holy mackerel, it was a lot of fun, but it was challenging too. I'm glad to be home, and I want to get out in the field, and I want to stretch my muscles on some trout. And, you know, I want to hone my skills for the guiding season, because I am looking forward to fishing with a lot of anglers. I'm looking forward to spending a lot of days out on the water this fall and winter. I'm Kel Kellogg. I'm out of here for now. Thanks for all the well wishes, and I will catch you next time right here on YouTube, guys. Thanks a ton.